I would say deciding the right features is a very important part of building an MVP and building any kind of product or a business. So, in my learning, from my learnings, I've divided that into, I would say, high level 4 points. And the first point would be to understand your pain points, the user pain points very carefully, right? Initially, when you are designing an MVP, when you're creating an MVP, a PM, as a PM product manager or as a founder, you might get into a dilemma into what are the right pain points that you need to solve for. While researching for one pain point, you might stumble onto another pain point which sounds more interesting and which may, give you an idea for a very shiny feature. So I would suggest stop that, don't do that, and carefully categorize your pain points, right? If it's let's say you're trying to help a user manage their expenses, what does it break down into? What are the pain points that a user is facing there? Are they able to enter their expenses manually? Do they have to do it automatically? Do you need to solve for automatic tracking? So understand those, pick the pain points that would then decide the need of other subsequent pain points in the same category, right? So solve for those pain points first. Also understand that are these features or are these pain points that you're solving for good enough for someone to pay for it is also very necessary in an MVP. You might not want to wait for the main product to come out, then finding the PMF. You can start your journey here itself. So understand that if someone is going to be willing to pay for this. Uh, Second, I would say when turning these pain points into features, make it very easy to use. You don't want to distract your user when you're building an MVP or when you're getting an MVP tested. You don't want a user to take a lot of efforts because MVPs are usually not that beautiful. A user might not want to use it. So rather make it very easy for them. Make sure that the feedback submission is very easy for the user, right? So some things that I also missed in my journey and a mistake that I made was that submitting feedback was not very easy in terms of my MVP. But I would suggest that is something that you should look out for. Uh, Third, I would say it's about tracking the success. So if you have built an MVP, you've tested it out, but you don't know what is the success metric of the MVP, you've sort of just wasted your time. So I would say make sure that you have a metric and you know this metric that this is, if this metric is successful, my roadmap further would then validate itself and I can build further. I have my work sorted for the next 3-4 months if a metric is successful. The last and the major point I would say is that you're not just building for the user, you're also building for a business. So build for scale. When building an MVP, there's a lot of ambiguity that we work in, right? We don't know what's necessary. We don't know how to do things. We might be in a situation where we are building something from scratch, right? No one has ever built this before. You're figuring things out. So I would suggest leave as many open threads as you can so that in the further iterations of the products, you can pull those threads and build a better iteration faster. It would save you money. It would save your company money. So that's how I would sum my answer.